So Jose Mourinho has been sacked as Manchester United manager. It's been a crazy ride. Couple of trophies in the bag along the way. But ultimately, probably the correct decision by the board at Manchester United. Let's have a chat about it though. So Jose Mourinho, his first season at Manchester United, I felt like he did a very, very good job in his first season. Not only bringing 2 trophies in the Europa League and the League Cup. No, I'm not going to count the Charity Shield. He changed the mentality at the club. He changed the attitude at the club. He changed the mood at Old Trafford because we were going into games expecting to win them. Now, I know our league form wasn't amazing, but I felt like that was partly due to the fact we focused on the Europa League during the second half of the season. And that was fine because it got us a trophy and it got us back into the Champions League. In his second season, we started off that season very, very well. It was a time where 4-0 FC was spawned and United were scoring goals for fun. Rashford and Martial were sharing the left-hand flank and looked like they were pushing each other on. Lukaku was scoring goals. Pogba was firing. United were playing good football. And then halfway through his second season, from January onwards, around the time as well when Sanchez came in, Manchester United lost against Sevilla. There seemed to be a complete mood change at Manchester United amongst the team, amongst the fans, and even amongst the manager and his coaching staff. And from there, it just feels like we've never ever got back on track. Towards the end of the season, some of the results were awful. And coming into this campaign, coming into the summer, into the pre-season, we were all hoping for a good transfer window. We knew that we were a little bit, we had our hands tied by the fact that there was a new transfer deadline. We had the World Cup, but yet those were used as excuses for not doing the business that we had to do. And I think the club definitely failed in backing Jose Mourinho in this window. Toby Alderweireld should have been signed. We should have been improving that defence and on the right-hand side of midfield as well. And those signings never come, and I could totally understand the frustration of Jose Mourinho because every single summer he had gone into it saying, I want 4 players and then getting 3. I want 5 players and then getting 4. There was always something missing in the summer transfer windows for him. And I felt for him because the club should have backed him better. But from a purely footballing perspective, Jose Mourinho from this summer, after finishing second last season, he just shot himself in the foot. He's been continuing to pick fights with his own players, calling players out for no reason. The tactics have been poor. The football has been poor. And when you've got a manager in the summer saying this is going to be a bad season, it's going to spread not only to the fans, but to his players too. And when you look at the players, you can just tell they're not really fighting for him anymore, not giving that 110% effort. And look, as a fan, I want to see our players arriving at Old Trafford, arriving at away grounds, every single game, putting everything in for the shirt. But I also understand that if you've got a manager that's chipping away at you, if you've got a manager that's playing tactics that are making you play against your instincts, then it's gonna take its toll on you mentally and even in the games as well. And people say you should do you shouldn't wash your dirty linen in public. And I totally understand that. And he does that an awful lot. Now, he hasn't been helped by the fact that some of his players, like Paul Pogba, even Luke Shaw recently coming out and saying the football needs to be better. We need to attack more. He's obviously not helped by that. And again, I'd rather our players kept things behind closed doors. But Jose Mourinho is now reaping what he has sowed over the last 12 to 24 months, taking shots at his players in public, doing this, doing that. He's now receiving it back. And the atmosphere, the mood at the club is so negative at the moment. It's really bad. And look, I never want players to become bigger than the manager, bigger than the club and all that. But I don't think that's what we're seeing here. I think we're seeing a group of players frustrated at what is going on at Manchester United. We're seeing a manager that is also frustrated with what's gone on above his head, but a manager that hasn't helped himself in the decisions that he's made with his team. So whilst I understand that there's a whole host of issues at Manchester United that aren't Jose Mourinho's fault and aren't Jose Mourinho's problem, he is a big big master of his own downfall, because he's picking the tactics. He's the one that's, you know, making his players doubt him. He's the one that's lost that dressing room. He's the one that's, you know, setting this team up. We look like we're uncoached. And that's what I mean. Everyone wants to talk about Paul Pogba, but take Paul Pogba out of this equation and Manchester United simply aren't good enough. And the buck has to stop with the manager. We can't just go and appoint a manager willy-nilly, scattergun approach like we've done with Moyes, Van Gaal and Mourinho. We have to get our house in order. We have to make, if we're going to get a director of football, do that. But we have to stop allowing Ed Woodward to make footballing decisions. He needs to stay in his lane, because he is as much a part of this problem as Jose Mourinho is. So there's our thoughts. It's clear United have more problems than just the manager. And with Mourinho gone now, we need to get our house in order. This squad that we have is full of potential, full of quality. Yes, it has a few holes, but there is a very, very good squad here. And I think with the right manager, with the right setup in place, this club does have a bright future. But unless we get those foundations in place, we're not going to improve. And yes, you might get a manager that has an immediate turn up in results, but whilst Ed Woodward's making football decisions, whilst there's no director of football, there's going to be problems. Let us know your thoughts. Subscribe, like and share. I'm Adam McKola. I'm out of here. Bit like Mourinho.